Hey everybody, this is episode 46 of the daily vlog series for VR Game Rankings. Today is December 5th. It of course is Tuesday. And basically I took a good look at the news stories today and there just wasn't much to work with, okay? We're starting to scrape the bottom of the barrel when it comes to news stories. We are in the month of December and things are slowing down. There just isn't a lot going on. There's not going to be a ton of major announcements, and it could kind of stay like this all the way until basically the January CES in Las Vegas. Up until then, I don't know that we're going to get a ton of major juicy things. Of course, at PSX, the PlayStation the PlayStation conference for fans of PlayStation, there could be some PSVR announcements that happen there. But other than that, it's going to be relatively slow. And so on these slow news days, I need to kind of zig or zag in a different direction and go in a different direction and basically do a different kind of a show. And so what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about VR games and experiences that I've been playing lately and just kind of go through that. And then once we hit about 22, 23, 24 minutes, I'm going to go ahead and call it a show. And that's basically what we're going to do today. So I'll start it off with my most recent VR experience that I had. Basically chronological order, but going from the most recent and then going backwards. So last night I played some Doom VFR. Now I am playing this on my Oculus Rift. I am playing with a GTX 970. I have not actually done the smooth locomotion mod yet. I've heard about it. I'm kind of interested in it, but I barely scratched the surface of Doom VFR. If you guys saw the most recent episode of VR Roundtable, the truth of the matter is I barely touched Doom VFR, really wasn't even qualified to talk about it on that episode, to be completely honest with you, because I really hadn't done anything. And so I played it again last night and got a little bit further into the game, and my views of the game have changed to a degree. So I'll go ahead and kind of talk about my experience playing Doom VFR last night. So basically, like I said, incredibly early into the game, I actually started over from the very beginning and basically started from scratch. And I'm going through the game and I'm teleporting around and I'm shooting the bad guys and doing all of this stuff. And on VR Roundtable, I said one of my biggest criticisms was that I felt like the gun, the standard issue gun that you get is kind of like a pea shooter, and I'm shooting these bad guys, but I don't really feel that visceral impact. If you've played Artica 1, that is like completely the opposite side of the coin. The guns in Artica 1, it's like bam, bam, bam. I mean, you feel those guns, the enemies take hits, you feel like you're inflicting serious damage on that. And in Doom VFR, this is mostly to do with the very first gun that your standard issue pistol that you get at the very beginning of the game. It just doesn't have a lot of oomph to it. And so I was kind of criticizing that fact on the most recent episode of VR Roundtable. Now I also had the shotgun, and the thing is, Gary was absolutely right. When you power up your shotgun and you hold down that grip button and you activate like the special mode of your shotgun and then you shoot it and it blasts off like 3 shots that kind of blast, it's a lot more visceral. It has a lot more impact. And what happened is the first time I was playing Doom VFR, I don't know what I upgraded. I don't know which gun I upgraded or what I did, but I didn't do anything with it. And so this time I went ahead and I upgraded the shotgun, and then I tried using it. I tried holding down the grip, activating the special mode of the shotgun, and doing that 3 blast shot. And it is much better, feels way better when you do that. So I've been exploring the very earliest level of Doom VFR. In fact, I haven't even gotten past the first boss, okay? So last night when I was playing, I got to the first boss, battled the first boss a couple of times, died a couple of times, and then it was time to get out of the game. So that's where I'm at. I mean, I have absolutely barely scratched the surface of this game. And you might be saying to yourself, dude, you're running a VR website, you're doing this daily vlog. How could you be so early in Doom VFR? And I don't really have a very good excuse for this other than the fact to say that just was super busy with a lot of other stuff and just didn't get around to it. That's really all I can say about that. So yeah, I'm very early on in the game, but my view has changed. I now feel, I mean, I'm not going to say Doom VFR is the greatest game ever. Oh my God, it's so incredible. But I don't feel like I don't want to go into it anymore, which is what I said on VR Roundtable. The first time that I got in there, everything was just kind of chaotic and confusing, and the music was blaring loud, and I don't know, I just didn't get into it. But this time I felt a lot better. I also said on VR Roundtable that I think the telefrag, is kind of a dumb idea, you know, just teleporting into an enemy and exploding it. It's still kind of a dumb idea, but I was having more fun with that, and I was using that technique a lot. And again, I am using teleport. I have not done the smooth locomotion trick yet. I thought I'd play the game a little while with standard teleport and kind of get the feel for how they designed the game initially, and then later do the mod for the smooth locomotion. So I kind of wanted to try it vanilla style for a little while first before I make any snap judgments after switching over to that mod. So haven't done that mod. Maybe we'll do it later today. But I've been going through the environments, and you know what? It is pretty cool. One of the coolest things actually about Doom VFR in general is when you get into that one room and it has those hologram models of all the different Doom enemies, and you can grab them and then they're in your hand and you can position them and move them all around. And I don't know, I'm just still amazed by this type of stuff. And I always say the same thing over and over again. Like when I hold something close to me and I'm looking at something close and I'm looking around, it's like a hologram. And I'll bring up Magic Leap. And I kind of feel like what I'm seeing when I grab one of these Doom enemies and I'm holding it close to me and I'm looking around at it, it's almost like I have Magic Leap right now, but it's inside a VR thing, and I'm wearing this big headset, and I'm not seeing real reality. My imagination for Magic Leap is that I'll be holding a Doom enemy and examining it, but in the background is going to be actual reality, you know, where I am in real life, and being able to do that and kind of more of that hologram kind of a feel. And that's what I got when I was examining the different creatures, and it is super cool. The enemy designs are really cool in this game. I really like the enemy designs. Now, as far as performance goes, I am, of course, rocking this 970, and I know a lot of people, yeah, you complain about it. Anthony, come on, upgrade, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we know. But the thing is, there is some stuttering. There is some little jankiness that is going on here. It is a little bit blurry. It is a little bit fuzzy. I'm not going to blame the game for any of this because I'm on a below-spec PC. I'm not going to throw any criticism out there at all for that. But other than that, I think the visuals are actually quite good. I think the audio is quite good. The music starts blaring, which is good and bad at sometimes, because when the music starts blaring, it does take a little bit away from the atmosphere of just being in a space. Because if you were really in this situation, music is not going to all of a sudden start blaring. You're going to just hear the sounds of the world itself. So when music starts blaring in a game, it can take a little bit from the immersion factor, but I was relatively enjoying myself going through this world, looking at everything and exploring it. And once again, still incredibly early on in the game, but I am enjoying it, and I will continue to play Doom VFR. So that was my most recent VR gaming experience last night. Okay, now yesterday afternoon, I played Skyrim VR. Now, as you guys know, on one of these episodes, I showed the big picture frame that was giving me all these reflection problems. And I had all these problems in Skyrim VR and was saying all these bad things about Skyrim VR and the controls, and I'm just having all these problems, blah, blah, blah. Figured all that out. and that was great. But since I figured all that out, I honestly haven't been in the game very much, which is unfortunate. And again, it's just been a case of a lot of other things going on and just running out of time and not having a chance to play Skyrim. So yesterday afternoon, I was able to play for quite some time, and goodness gracious, man, this game, we are getting close, of course, to Game of the Year awards, and VR Roundtable is going to have some episodes where we talk about the Game of the Year awards for 2017, the best VR games of 2017. And we were talking, this was after the show that we recorded, how are we going to handle this? Because last year when we did that show, it was a 3-hour show and we only had 3 people. Now we have 4 people. So are we going to have like a 5-hour marathon episode? Probably not. So what we're thinking about doing is breaking it into 2 parts, part 1 and part 2 of for the VR Roundtable for our Game of the Year awards. We haven't finalized this. We haven't decided exactly what we're going to do, but that's kind of what we talked about. I can tell you from playing Skyrim VR yesterday, it's going to factor in these awards. In fact, I don't know, man. I mean, it's shooting up my rankings so incredibly high. And the reason why that it's shooting so high up the rankings is because this is a fully realized world, okay? And I've had VR since what, April 2016? I didn't get my Vive immediately. People had Vives for maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I was still waiting for my Vive. I got my Vive, I believe, in late April. But I've had VR for quite some time now, and I've never experienced a game in VR that was so fully fleshed out in terms of just so much content, just so many places to go, so many things to explore, so many different things going on. This is Skyrim. There's a reason everybody is going nuts on the PSVR subreddit, is because you're in VR, but it's Skyrim. It's an open world. You go anywhere, you're walking places, you're just discovering things. You find new cities, you find new little outposts, you get into battles with different people. There's wildlife. You can go inside the river and end up drowning. There's just so many different things that are going on in Skyrim VR that it just takes it to an entirely new level. Now, the graphics are holding it back. I will completely admit that. And also the tracking, even though my situation has improved by leaps and bounds, taking away that reflective picture frame, my situation has improved, but still the tracking is not necessarily ideal. The thing that we have to remember here, PlayStation VR has one single camera. Imagine if the Oculus Rift was only using one single sensor, or if the HTC Vive was only using a single lighthouse. So there is a bit of a situation there that is going to cause you some problems. So there are a little bit of some tracking problems that happen with it. And then the graphics, they are watered down. And I'm still enjoying the experience. But as I move through Skyrim, the resolution and stuff, it does hold the game back a little bit here and there. But you can just get lost in it. What I've been doing lately, I'm not even following the story. I'm just walking in random directions. And what's happened to me recently is I'm in like this snow area. Like I haven't seen green trees and like brown ground in a long time. I'm in an area that is completely snow covered. The rivers are icy. The water is icy, and I'm exploring these areas, and I'm just kind of walking in random directions, and a pack of wolves will attack me. I'm playing with bow and arrow right now. One of the criticisms I can make in regards to the bow and the arrow is, for example, I'll have a couple of wolves that'll come towards me, and they're getting ready, you know, they're basically attacking me, and they're heading towards me in attack mode. And one of the cool things about Skyrim is the music will, like a certain music riff will kick on to let you know you are entering combat. Somebody is about to freaking whoop your ass if you don't get ready and deal with this. And so there's these little audio cues that Bethesda uses throughout that game, which adds a little extra something. Again, in VR, so many of these VR games that we're playing are more amateur style efforts, and we don't always get these audio cues. We don't always get little things that kind of polish the experience, and that's what we have with Skyrim VR, and it's what makes it that much more powerful and impactful. So these wolves are coming at me, and I take my bow and arrow and I'm going to shoot these wolves. Now, when I talk about the tracking issues, one of the tracking problems that I've had is I'm doing this with my bow and arrow, right? But for some reason, my bow and arrow is like up here. And it's like I have to like angle downwards to try to shoot my arrow and hit that wolf. And I'm able to do it, but it's just a little awkward to think that my bow and arrow is like way the hell up here. And again, I believe this is a tracking issue with PSVR. And so I have experienced that. That's one of the little downsides. I'm trying to think if there's some other, I mean, just besides the graphics basically, and where you notice the graphics the most is when you get really close to a bush. The little bushes and the little shrubs are incredibly pixelated when you get really close to them. And then sometimes you're just looking off into the distance and you see the snow coming down and you see snowflakes that are coming down and some other, the wind is whirling and twirling, but you kind of also just see kind of a general screen door effect that kind of reveals itself when you're just kind of looking off into the distance. So that'll happen. Another little bit of a janky thing I can mention is there's a lot of wildlife running around. You will see deer that run around. You will see moose. You'll see bunny rabbits that are running around. You'll see these snow foxes and the wolves, of course. And one of the janky things about it is the animations of these animals. Like I saw some bunnies that were running by me, and you'll see as they're running, maybe it's because it's in VR and you're in VR and you see it, some of the flaws of the animations might be revealed a little bit more in VR, and this is understandable. But like the snow fox, when it's climbing up the mountain, you can kind of see that its paws maybe are not actually hitting the surface in quite the right way. But it's still truly magical to have chickens and horses and bears and all these wildlife that are just naturally occurring. I was over in this one area where a waterfall, this was an icy waterfall. Snow is everywhere. The water, it looks freezing cold. I mean, you're just there, you're looking at it, and it looks like the water is absolutely freezing cold. And there's a waterfall going over this edge, and I was just looking at the waterfall, and you know what I noticed? It was like salmon were jumping up in the waterfall, like trying to get up the waterfall and trying to get up there. And it's just little details like that that I just don't think you get in the average game. You're not going to get that in Carnage Chronicles. You're not going to get that in Vanishing Realms. And that is what is truly magical about Skyrim VR. And it's unfortunate because the more I play it, the more I think, man, this will be so much better when it hits Vive and Oculus, and the tracking is so much more dialed in and you have more horsepower that you can throw at it. It's just going to be that much better. But you'll walk into a village, or not even a village, you'll walk into a campsite and some people are sitting around the fire, and the NPCs will just start talking to you. You know, they notice you when you come up and they'll just start talking to you. You don't even have to enter into like a special dialogue mode. They'll notice you and they'll start talking to you and they'll make comments. And one guy over here is talking to you, and then I hear another voice and I realize, oh, there's a guy sitting down over there and he's talking to me too. And all of that stuff just combines and really makes the overall thing magical. I really feel bad for anybody out there that does not have a PlayStation VR and cannot play Skyrim VR right now, because it's something that I just don't think we're seeing on the PC VR systems. Now, of course, it is December 5th, and we do know that like a week from now, we are going to be playing Fallout 4 VR. And what I'm experiencing right now with Skyrim VR, I think everybody's going to experience that with Fallout. You're going to see that majesty. You're going to see so much content and so much stuff that is going on and so much polish. and just the audio cues and everything, you're going to see that, and you're going to realize, man, this is kind of what we've been missing in VR. And so Skyrim VR, magical. I'm going to continue to play the game, just absolutely in love with it, and it is definitely going to factor into the Game of the Year awards, I would have to say. So that's cool. So another little experience I can talk about briefly is Brobots. So this is free on the Oculus Rift. Now, this isn't a game. This is a VR experience. There really is no interactivity. The interesting thing about it, so it's kind of a comedy thing. You have these two robots, I believe it's Otis and Roberto, and they are two English robots, but they're in New York and they're working for the NYPD, but everything is kind of robots now, and you don't see any humans anywhere, but it's kind of a comedy thing, and they're like in this subway, and there's an evil robot basically that has strapped a bomb to a lady, and so these guys are trying to solve the problem and figure it out. And it's short. This isn't going to last you for a long time. It's not an incredibly detailed experience, but it's cool. I've said it a million times. We continue to be showered with free experiences from so many companies that are giving us this great stuff. And it's always nice when you log into whatever store it is and there's some new 10 to 15, 20-minute experience for you to try. It's just like, it's really enjoyable that we have all these experiences. Now, long term, we need to figure out a way to compensate these people. These people need to get paid in some way for making these little things. And I've kind of said it before that I think we need to go the Netflix route, or some type of subscription-based route with all of these little experiences that are out there, so that you can pay, let's say you're paying $10 a month, but it guarantees you 4 new experiences like this every single month, or 5 new experiences like this every single month. Something like that. We need to figure out some way to do that so that there is some type of revenue that can come in for companies that are making this kind of stuff. But Brobots, definitely cool, definitely worth a download. Let's see, one other, I might as well mention another experience. I don't think I've talked about this on this particular daily vlog. I think I talked about it on the VR Roundtable episode, but I don't think I've talked about this on the daily vlog. So I'll talk for a quick second about Dispatch. This is another Oculus experience. Brobots is also an Oculus experience. I'm assuming it would work fine in Revive. Dispatch, I remember Chris on the VR Roundtable said that it did not work with Revive, that Dispatch wasn't working. Hopefully it's been patched in some way, or Revive has been patched in some way to allow Dispatch to work, because I think Dispatch is one of the best VR experiences I've seen in an extremely long time. It is really powerful. Basically, it's the story of this police officer who obviously something major happened to him. Maybe he shot somebody and it was kind of traumatic, and he didn't work for a long time. He was placed on administrative leave with pay, wasn't working for a long time, and then when he came back to the force, instead of being actually on the beat and being a homicide detective or whatever, he was assigned to be a 911 dispatcher. Now, I'm making all of that up. I'm not sure that that's what happened, but as you get the story, as you hear the guy talk, you kind of get this feeling that something traumatic happened, and he's now been assigned to be this 911 dispatcher, and he hates this job. He doesn't like it, and he's like complaining to his boss. And so there's, I believe, 4 episodes of Dispatch, and they only give you the first one free. And then if you want episode 2, 3, and 4, or chapter 2, 3, and 4, you pay like $4 or $3 to get these additional chapters. So I'm just talking about the very first chapter here. And you're this 911 dispatcher, and so you're taking these calls, and people call 911, and the way they convey the story is as the operator gets information from the person on the phone, it starts to light up the world. And so it's almost like you're looking into their brain, and it's like their brain is creating an image from the information that they're getting in the phone call. And the way it's creating the image is it's doing it in a wireframe polygonal mode. If you guys have ever seen one of the recent Star Wars movies on Blu-ray, and you know how you go into the bonus features of the Blu-ray and it'll show you how they made Star Wars, and it'll show like all the green screen stuff, and then sometimes it'll show like the wireframe version of a scene that they were doing, and everything is created from wireframes and polygons and stuff like that. That's kind of what Dispatch does. It's similar to Stifled, but much better. And I think one of the reasons it's so effective is because the background is basically all black. And when a noise is made, it creates like a ripple, and then you see the polygonal wireframe shapes of whatever is going on. A guy running through the forest, someone's chasing him, or a lady that's being attacked by some boyfriend that is going psycho on her. And you'll see like these wireframe images, and it's just done in such a great way. I mean, it is really, really impressive. So I can't say enough about Dispatch. So if you guys have not checked out Dispatch, oh my God, you gotta check it out. And I hope that this thing eventually gets working in Revive. And it's amazing that Oculus has so many exclusives when it comes to these experiences. It's kind of unfortunate because this stuff really should get out to everybody out there. It's unfortunate that people even have to go through Revive to do this. And a lot of these experiences, the other thing I've noticed is with so many games, they'll start out as exclusives, and then maybe 3 or 4 months later, it ends up on Steam. But with a lot of these non-games, I haven't seen that. They stay exclusive forever, it seems. And I don't know if Oculus is kicking out the money for this, and they've done it in their contracts, and so that's the way it's going to work. Because remember, Oculus said that they've put aside like $250 million that they're using for all these different things. So part of that money could be going to a lot of these different experiences like Brobots, Dispatch, Blade Runner 2049 Memory Lab, you know, all these different experiences that we're getting. But man, Dispatch, truly amazed by that. And I'm sure in VR Roundtable on our Game of the Year awards, we're going to be talking about some of the best VR experiences of the year, and I absolutely guarantee you Dispatch will enter into that equation. If not from any of the other hosts of VR Roundtable, it'll definitely enter it from me because I was really blown away by it. It's not super long. That first little chapter that they give you that's free probably only lasts like 8 or 9 minutes. But I thought it was incredibly powerful and really impactful. So definitely check out Dispatch. Okay, so we're at around the 27-minute mark. Again, I apologize for no news today. It was just scraping the bottom of the barrel. There really weren't any stories that really spoke to me in any particular way. So I thought maybe it'd be better to just go into some games and experiences because I really haven't gotten to a lot of these on the daily vlogs. We've just kind of been sticking with news and haven't really gotten to much experiences. So thought I'd do this today. Hopefully you guys liked it. And of course, we will be back for tomorrow's episode, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take it easy. Have a great Tuesday. See you guys tomorrow.